difficult to this community. Okay, allow me to share my screen and notes with you. Okay. All right. Here it is. Can you all see?
Yes.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So when man sensualizes his wife, that's the topic for today, all right? When man sensualizes his wife, all right? So that's what we are going to be looking at for the next couple of few minutes, basically. So now we start by the verse Ephesians chapter 5, verse 25 to 6. We're going to read that, trying to understand true love or trying to understand pure love. Okay, because we've come to understand that there is pure love and then also there is impure love. Okay, there is false love, there is true love. All right, just like there is false education, there is true education. There's a counterfeit of everything else. So how do I know that in my own love, in my own marriage life, I am living the principles of true love, not the principles of false love? How do I know that I'm truly loving? Okay. How do I know that I'm maintaining the right principles, not the false principles of love? Now we're given the direction and the basis. There's so much contained in this verse, short as it is, but we're not going to touch base on everything else. For example, it says, husband, love your wives. All right. So the verse itself is about how to love the wife. All right. It's about how to love the wife. Now, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church. So we are given a model that how you love your wife should be a reflection of how Christ loves his church. Okay, that's a pattern that we're being given. Husband, love your wives, even as Christ loved the church. So love the wives the same manner Christ loves his church. And he gave himself for it. You see, that topic alone, he gave himself for it. That deserves a presentation on its own. So we are not going to touch based on that aspect of Christ giving himself for it. So what does it mean for a man to give himself up? I've heard many people talking about it means that if there are some maparas that are coming through the doors, you must be willing to take the bullet, for example. Okay. But is that what the text really talks about? Is that what that phrase means and all that? Well, we're going to look into this. Is that all there is to it? That you must be willing to defend your wife before Amapara. Is that truly what this text, this verse means? Okay. So Christ was willing to give himself up for the church. All right. But why was Christ giving himself up for the church? So that he might sanctify and cleanse it. Okay. I hope that is you are getting that. And that is where the basis of our presentation will be today. So Christ gave himself up so that he can accomplish true love, or he can demonstrate the love. And what is that love? It is to sanctify and to cleanse the church. Okay. Now notice this thing. From this verse, we can see that the duty of a man is to sanctify the wife. But what is to sanctify the wife? What is to sanctify, basically? What do you understand about the understanding of sanctifying? What does it mean to sanctify? Okay. To sanctify, it means to set apart for holy use, to make something holy. Now, other versions, they say God sanctified the Sabbath, but other versions, they say God made the Sabbath holy. So it is the duty of every man to make a woman holy. But now, what is an opposite of holy? The opposite of holiness is defiling. So if you are defiling your wife, you are not loving the wife as stipulated by the Bible. Now, the verse says, husband, love your wife, just like Christ loved the church. and even gave himself up so that, so you can see already that the purpose of Christ giving himself up was that he can achieve these two things, to sanctify and to cleanse it. I mean, look at it, it's in the verse. He gave himself up for it that he might. So the purpose of love, or rather, the end goal of giving yourself up is so that the wife can be sanctified, so that the wife can be cleansed from all the impurity, the impureness of the corruptions of the world and the flesh. Are we together? So if we think that this verse talks about you defending your wife before Mapara, we might have to ask that, okay, if this verse talks about defending, that is the aspect of giving yourself up, it means to defend. How will defending your wife, for example, achieve the end goal of sanctifying, of making your wife holy, and of cleansing every corruption that exists in the heart? So how will defending that achieve that? We'll have to look into that, but we're going to touch base on this some other time. But let's look at why God, or why Christ rather, gave himself up. Christ gave himself up so that he might sanctify and cleanse it. So it is the duty of, now this is how men should love their wives. So it is the duty of a man to make a woman holy, that is to sanctify. So you marry a woman, then when you marry a woman, then whatever traits that exist in that woman, whatever unholy traits that exist in that woman, it's your job. So don't go around telling us that, no, my wife, you know what, my wife has got a weakness, and everything else. And by the way, I read some interesting comment from Ellen White of why this text was even written. Because these men, they wanted to divorce their wives because of the inadequacies. Not because the wives have cheated on whatever. No, because maybe the wife has got a defect somewhere. And then they thought that this gives them the right to put away the wife. And then this is what Paul was actually correcting, that, that is not how you do it. Okay? That is not how you do it. What does it mean to love? To love means to sanctify and to cleanse. So you must sanctify a wife and you must cleanse the wife. So it is the duty of every man to refine a woman, that is to clean her. It is the duty of every man to make a woman holy, that is to sanctify her. So in order to achieve this, the man should do this at all costs, even of his life. That is to give himself up. Okay, but now I want us to listen quickly, or to read quickly, the comments of the inspiration of Ellen White explaining this verse as well. Now she says, how few men show their love in the manner specified by the apostle. So there is a manner that is specified on how to love a wife. That this is loving. My wife was telling me that we are going to be shocked by each day to discover that what we call love is not love. Because right now we've got our own conceptions of what love is, and we've termed that love. But God will continue to unfold and to reveal to us that what we term love is actually not love. Now, this is true love. What we have just realized now. That's what it means to love a wife, to sanctify her and to cleanse her. So if you loving has got nothing to do with sanctifying the wife, has got nothing to do with cleansing the wife, you are not loving the wife. Now, Ellen White continues to say, this is the manner specified by the apostles, and few men live according to this love, type of love, this kind of love. Now, she says, even as Christ also loved the church and gave himself for it, that he might, now notice what Ellen White says, that he might not pollute it, but sanctify and cleanse it. But what does it mean to pollute? To pollute means to defile, right? So if a man defiles his wife, he is not fulfilling the manner specified of how to love a wife. So you cannot be defiling your wife and calling and telling us that you are loving your wife when you are busy defiling your wife. So you must sanctify your wife, you must cleanse your wife so that she should be without blemish. So in other words, There is no such thing as a dream woman. No one marries a dream woman. No man marries a dream wife. A dream wife is made by a husband. A husband cleanses and refine his wife so that he can present to himself a dream wife. I hope this makes sense. So that you can present yourself a dream wife. You don't marry a dream wife. Yes, you marry someone with the right values and the right foundation. But the rest of the walls and the roofing, you are going to do it in your own marriage life. Now, Ellen White says, this is the quality of love in the relation which God recognizes as holy. So if you do that, then God recognizes that type of marriage as holy. So not every relationship in marriage, not every marital relationship is holy, in other words. No. And it's this man that's defiled it. The institution, yes, is created to be holy, just like the Sabbath is created to be holy. But however, if people are not abiding in the holy principles of the institution in them, in their hands, does not remain holy. They are defiling the institution. The same way we defile the Sabbath. So if this institution is holy and pure, when you walk in it, you must maintain its purity. So you're not going to come here with dirty hands and dirty everything and dirty the institution, and then you say, you see, it's still dirty. It's not dirty in your hands, at least. But now, if you follow these principles that Christ is saying on how to love a woman, then God recognizes that marital union as pure. That those ones that for a pure marriage. So there's a specified manner to love the wife. That's what we're getting here. And number two, the man must not pollute the wife, but make her holy. Don't defile the wife. Don't pollute. Then you must be asking, but what does the Bible mean by this? How would a man pollute his wife, for that matter? How would you pollute your wife? How would you pollute a woman? How do you defile a woman? That's what we're going to look today. All right? So today we want to ask the following. How do men pollute their wife? How do men pollute their wives? We will examine the life of Queen Vashti to answer this question. And we will show just one of many ways and means of how this experience reveals itself out in the modern marriages. So we are going to show and see how one of the ways that these husbands, they pollute and defile their wives. Okay? So we are going to read the verse. After reading the verse, we are going to let the pen of inspiration to comment and to expand further on this principle. And then we are going to look into how this can be manifested in our own lives today. Maybe I'll ask them questions to say, okay, tell me, Finance, how would this manifest itself in the modern society? Okay, here's the verse. Esther chapter 1, verse 10 to 12. Let me just do this. Now, the Bible says, on the seventh day, when the king, when King Xerxes was in high spirit from wine. Okay, so question, Pioneers. Question, what does it mean to be in high spirit from wine? What does it mean? Just a quick.
It means to be drunk.
You are drunk. Okay, so they were having the king was having a part in his kingdom. Now, on the seventh day, when the king was in high spirit, so in other words, when the king was drunk, he commanded the 7 eunuchs who served him to bring before him Queen Vashti. So here's the king. Now, question, when you are drunk, is your mind pure or is it defiled? Come on, brethren. When you are drunk, is your mind pure or defiled? Okay, I proceed. Yeah.
The problem is we don't know the definition of defiled.
Or to make defiled means to make dirty.
Yeah, it's defiled.
It's defiled, yes.
It's not.
So
not
yes.
pure.
So when the king was defiled, so when the king was in high, was drunk, he commanded his servants, bring my wife here, Queen Vashti, bring her here. But why did the king wanted to bring the wife? Come on, read that for us. We can finish that verse. Come on, Pioneer, finish that verse for us. Why did the king wanted to bring the wife?
On the seventh day, should I start there?
Yes, you can start there.
On the seventh day, when King, what's this word? X,
Sexus.
wow. Sextus was in high spirit from
Wine.
wine.
Yes.
Oh, this phone has a broken screen. He commanded
The 7 eunuchs.
the 7 eunuchs who
Yes.
served him
Yes. To do
to
what?
bring before him Queen Vashti,
Vashti. Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
wearing her royal crown.
Yes. Crown. Yeah.
Uh, in the uh, or in order to display her beauty to the people of nobles.
Okay. Yes.
And then for she was lovely to look at. But
Mm-hmm.
when the attendant delivered the king's command, Queen Vashti refused to come. Then
Yes.
the king became furious and burned with anger.
Okay. Fine. Now, question. Question. Why did the king wanted Queen Vashti to come? What did he want to do with her? Anyone?
Is it to display her beauty to the people of the nobles
To the people, yes, to display her beauty to the people and the noble.
and the
Okay.
nobles? Yeah.
Now,
Yep.
question, what does it mean to display the beauty of your wife before people? What's your understanding of that? Eh?
Can you repeat your question?
So, what do you understand by displaying the beauty of the wife for other men? Because remember, the king also was sitting with other men there. There was no women where he was. It was men. And maybe the rest of the public is fine. But what is your understanding of this? How, or in fact, fine, I'm going to ask this question. Let's pause for a moment. I'm going to ask this question. So I'm going to come back to it. So the king wanted to display the beauty of his people, of his wife to the men that he was sitting with and the nobles, right? Now, let me just ask a simple question. Is there something wrong in your understanding? I just be honest in how you understand. Is there something wrong when a man displays the beauty of his wife before the world? Is there something wrong with that or nothing wrong with that? Just honestly, I'm not going to say you are wrong. I just need to understand your perception. Is there something wrong when a man says, "Hey guys, look at my wife, how beautiful she is"? Is there something wrong when a man displays the beauty of his wife to the public? Is there something wrong with that or nothing?
Yes, yes.
Okay, let's continue. Now, when the wife heard this, that your husband wants to display you before the world, the queen refused, said, "No, I cannot have my husband displaying my beauty for other men to see. I cannot do that." The queen refused, and man, this angered the king. You get the point? This angered the king. All right. Now, I want us to look at, to take some abstract, for example, from the Spirit of Prophets as well. To comment on this and to substantiate even what Pioneer Tebucho is saying, that it's not right to display. But however, though we can say it's not right to display your wife, but come on, brethren, come on. How many men do you know that go to people's social statuses today? Go to people's Facebooks, go to people's WhatsApp messages, statuses. Go to people. How many men do you know today that are displaying the beauty of their wives? Not for themselves to see and enjoy. No, no, no. For other men to see. How many men do you know that are doing that? Tebucho, my pioneer. How many men do you know that are doing that?
A lot.
A lot. Okay? A lot. But according to this verse, before a king can display his wife and the beauty of his wife to the rest of the world, what must happen to his mind?
He must be high in the spirit of alcohol.
He must be defiled, right?
Mm.
So when a man displays his wife and the beauty of his, flashing the beauty of his wife for the world to see, what does that tell us about his mind? Okay, fine. While you are thinking about it, let's continue to the next slide. Let's get Ellen White to comment on this particular event that was happening, right? Now, Ellen White says, had the king maintained his royal dignity by practicing habits of temperance, he would never have made this command. But his mind was affected by the wine that he had used so freely, and he was not prepared to act wisely. Question: does displaying the wife of your beauty, so does displaying the beauty of your wife to the public wise or not, according to the statement? Is it a wise thing to display the beauty of your wife for the world to see?
No.
No.
It's not, right? Now, another thing.
Yes.
Now, what led the king to want to display the beauty of his wife to the world? On day 7. Now, check the first sentence. What does the first sentence say? Had the king, yes, continue, read, yeah.
Had the king maintained his royal dignity by practicing
Wait a
habits
minute.
of okay.
Wait a minute. So what happened now before the king issued this command? What happened to his dignity first?
It was maintained.
It was not maintained.
Mm.
So the king first lost respect of his own dignity. You
Amen.
get the point?
Amen.
So after losing your own dignity as a man, what is the next thing that you want to do? Is to strip the dignity of your own wife. Because you've already stripped your own dignity. Does this make sense? Well, from what we're reading here is that had the king maintained his royal dignity, so if the king maintained his dignity and his respect, because dignity is respect, he would never have asked people to bring his wife so that he can showcase the beauty of his wife to the world. He can never have done that. By the way, please notice this. Let's go back to the verse. The king says, bring Queen Vashti wearing her own royal crown. Now, I want you to notice this. The king did not say Queen Vashti must be stripped and be naked. So he was going to display the beauty of his wife while his wife was in royal crown and royal attire, basically. You get the point? So he was not going to be naked. But bottom line is that even if she was dressing, even if Queen Vashti was dressed, the king wanted to display, to show other men, look at the beauty, man, that I'm enjoying. Look at the beauty that I'm enjoying when you guys don't see me. Look at this beauty that I'm enjoying. Now, if this man had not lost his dignity, he would not have asked to do this. And it took him 7 days to do it, for that matter. Now, so we can see here from this statement that the reason the king tried to disrespect his wife is because he first lost his self-respect. True or false? You get the point? So, before a man can display the beauty of his wife to the public, to strip the dignity of his wife, he must first strip himself dignity. He must first disrespect himself. So only when a man does not respect himself can he disrespect his wife. That's what we're getting here. In fact, Ephesians chapter 5, verse 28 says, husbands ought to love their wives in the same way as they do their own bodies. So you've got to love your own wife the same way you love your own body. That's what the verse is saying. How you love your wife shows how you love yourself as a man. That's what Ephesians chapter 5, verse 28 says. You get the point? You get the point? Now, this is a very powerful verse. It's a mighty verse. Husbands ought to love their wives in the same way as they do their own bodies. So, how you love your own body is manifested in how you love your own wife. So, if you value less your body, your own body, then that will be shown in how you value your wife. You're going to value your wife less because you value your body less. Okay? So if you disrespect your own body, you're going to disrespect your wife. Okay. Now, Ellen White says, sensual things could only come from a mind defiled. Isn't exactly what we see here happening? Sensual things could only come from a mind defiled. So there is no person in his right mind that can sensualize his wife. There is no man in his right mind that can display the beauty of his wife on his Facebook status. There is no right man in his mind that can display the beauty of his wife on his Facebook and WhatsApp and Instagram. There is no man in his right mind that can do this unless his own mind first is defiled. So how a man sensualizes his wife is a reflection of his impure and unholy mind. But to be defiled, it means to be unholy and to be impure. So the reason a man would want to sensualize the wife is because this is stemming from a defiled mind. It's dirty. His mind is dirty, it's filthy, it's unclean. So now he wants to strip the dignity of his wife by flashing her beauty for the world to see. You get the point? He is busy teasing the senses of other men. He's provoking the senses of other men by the beauty of his wife. That's what is happening here. You are busy provoking the senses of other men so that men can say, indeed, you are eating nice, my brother. You are busy provoking the senses, the sexual senses of other men by the beauty of your own wife. What are you doing with that? You are busy masturbating other men by the beauty of your own wife. What do you call that? That the man doing that is right in his own mind, busy masturbating the mind of other men by the beauty of your own wife? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And the reason a man would do this is because he himself has got a dirty mind. He's defiled, he's filthy, he's rotten in his mind. That's why he is stripping the dignity of his wife, busy posting his wife all over social media platforms, busy masturbating the sexual feelings of other men, using the beauty of her own wife, stripping the dignity of his own wife. His own wife. Imagine that. Other people, they even do this using their own daughters, their own girl children, stimulating and masturbating the sexual senses of other men, using their own daughters. Now, King commanded 7 eunuchs who served him to bring before him Queen Vashti, wearing her royal crown, in order to display her beauty to the people and nobles. So we can see here that when a man flaunts the beauty of his wife before the world, it reveals how low and degraded his mind has become or is. Are we clear, brethren, so far?
Amen.
All right. Now we continue. Now the verse continues to say, but when the attendants delivered the king's command, Queen Vashti refused to come. Queen says, no, you are not going to masturbate other men using my beauty. You are not going to provoke the sexual senses of other men with my own beauty. That belongs to you only, king. You cannot do that. You are stripping my own dignity. The king refused. Now, Ellen White says, Listen to what Ellen White says. Pioneer Tebuko, please read for me this quotation. What does Ellen White says?
The king should have honored the judgment of his wife.
Yes.
Their judgment is not correct.
Mm-hmm.
The result was unfavorable to Vashti.
Yes. So the king should have honored the judgment of his wife. The king should have said, hey, man, no, I married a woman of virtue. I'm a rubbish, but man, I married a woman of virtue who could not allow my rubbishness to drag her to my level of a rubbish mind. The king should have honored the judgment of his wife to say, no, man, my wife refused for me to make her a sexual toy for other men to stimulate their own sexual feelings using her own beauty. The king should have honored this woman. But what did the king do? Do you know what the king do? What the king did? The king divorced the woman. Can you believe it? Can you believe that?
No.
The king
Yeah.
divorced the queen because the queen could not refuse to be made a sexual object by the king. But the king, the inspiration says, or God says to the pen of Ellen White, that the king should have honored the wife. That men, yes, I might have behaved in a rubbish manner to take the beauty of my wife, to flaunt it before other men, to excite. But we know what the beauty of, let me tell you something. The beauty of a wife does not stimulate the digestive system in a man, does it? When a man sees a beautiful woman, is it the digestive system that gets stimulated?
No.
No. Which senses are stimulated? It's the sexual senses, am I right? It's the sexual senses, am I right? Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's the sexual senses that are stimulated whenever a man sees a beautiful wife, or sorry, a beautiful woman in general. So hence was saying that what the king was doing, he was trying to masturbate the senses of man using the beauty of his wife. But the woman said, I will not be dragged that low. So Enwar says the king should have realized this, that this was virtue, and she should have honored the judgment of this woman. So far, we are getting that in refusing, that is the queen, in refusing for her beauty to be paraded before other men, Queen Vashti was honoring the husband. Okay, so let me ask the question. Pioneer, Tebuho, would you feel honored
Yes,
when a woman refuses that her beauty should be used to stimulate sexuality of other men? Do you think this is something that deserves praises for the woman?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Brother Kenneth, do you feel the same?
Yes.
Absolutely. This is the materialistic type of women that we want. This is the type of women that we want. Now, when you've got this type of woman, man, you've got yourself a treasure. You get the point? But let's be honest.
Amen.
What type of women do we have today? Do you think now the quality of women that we have today, how many would see this thing as a cute thing? My wife, my husband is calling me. My husband has just updated me in her social status, wearing that beautiful dress that I've just bought. How many girls and women would find this cute when their husbands are doing this thing?
Majority.
Now, what does that tell us about the quality of this woman, of this woman?
The dignity is low.
Yes, they've got low morals. We have married junk, basically. It means that we have married junk. You get the point. But now, let's continue. What does Ellen White says about this statement? How many women would want to do this in the modern society, generally? She says, okay, Vashti refused to obey the king's command, thinking that when he came to himself, in other words, when he comes out of alcohol, he would command her course of action. But the king had unwise advisors. Now, Ellen White says, in this age, would there have been a denial of the royal request? So, in other words, the women in this day, if your husband wants to take your beauty and splash it before other men to see, so that other men can see and appreciate this, that you've got a beauty, and get to be stimulated by, how many women would say no to this? Would women in the modern society say no to this? Now, Ellen White says, I'm afraid not. So, in other words, she is echoing the same statements that Brother Kenneth is saying, that no, majority of these women will not say no. They'll say, yeah, it's cute. Flash my beauty. Masturbate them, honey, with my own beauty. Masturbate them. Stimulate their sexuality with my beauty. Yeah, you get the point. Now, Ellen White continues to say, Tebucho, read for this for me, the last remaining part. Today.
Where?
From today. After the part that says, I'm afraid.
Today,
yes.
Today, young
yeah.
girls and married women who use their powers in a most shameless, disgraceful manner to court attention from unmarried and married men.
Wow. Yes.
They seem to be infatuated with evil,
Mm.
and men are often tempted by women.
Yo, hey. You see, now men end up falling. Why? Because there is a woman out there that is busy masturbating the sexual sense of this man, masturbating him with her beauty, masturbating him with her beauty. So when you keep on masturbating the man, what must happen to the man?
He's going to fall.
He's going to fall. So, Ellen White says, unfortunately, women that we have today are not the same caliber as the women of old, the likes of Queen Vashti. Majority of these women will not say no when they are own men. Because we must understand also here, who wanted to masturbate the world with the beauty of his wife? Was it the queen herself? No, it was the husband.
No.
But not only that, what you also get from this statement is that while men can sensualize their women, both married and single women are also in the habit of sensualizing themselves. And thus men are often tempted. So what we're getting here is that even before a husband does it, these women, both married and unmarried, are already doing it themselves. They are busy sensualizing men. They are busy masturbating men with their beauty. When they're walking down the street, you go to Commissioner Street in Johannesburg, you go to Bree Street, you go to wherever, women themselves, married and unmarried, they are doing it all by themselves. They are busy masturbating the sexual senses of these men in the streets. When you go to church, women in church, they are masturbating the sexual senses of the men. You get someone to go and chorus the music before the congregation. They go there dressing in a way that masturbate the sexual senses. They are doing it. That's what the inspiration says. Today, young girls and married, it's not only the single girls, both the single and the married, they are busy sensualizing men. They are doing it themselves, even without the husbands or the fathers doing it. Now, it's the women themselves, they're doing it. And we know, we have read earlier that okay, in fact, let me just, I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to come back. Now, if, for example, here, you remember this quote, it says, sensual things could only come from a mind defiled. So the reason these married women and these single women are sensualizing men is because they are filthy, they are dead. They are dead. Of course, if you ask them, my sister, are you dead? Why are you? They will say, no, we are not dead. They will say, no, control yourself, my brother. I'm not wearing to sensualize you. I just want to look beautiful for myself. Says someone that is busy. Now, notice this. Notice this. You see the part that says, today, young girls and married women use their powers. Did you see the part that says powers? Do you see that? Because women have got powers. Now, what do we use power for? What do we use power for? Just a question. What do we use power for?
to achieve things,
What are those things?
material things, build houses, and
Okay. Don't we use power to overcome?
to conquer.
Yes, to conquer. Don't we use power to conquer? Don't we use power to subdue? We use power to gain control?
Mm.
So women are using the power to do what? To gain control, to conquer men. They know they've got the power. They know it. Okay, let's move. Now, if it's not another man tempting other men like the king with the beauty of his wife, as we've seen with the king, it is often the single and the married women doing it all by themselves. And often with the help of their men, parents, or even the church leaders. Okay, we're going to look into this in some other presentation. That how to husband. In fact, we have seen, for example, with the king, how he is doing this centralizing. Even the parents, they do this. They centralize their own children. Even the church leadership, they help this evil of centralizing men. So man has got enemies. Man has got enemies. Even other men are busy attacking the other men, bring down the other men, using the beauty of our centralizing other men by the beauty of their own wives. Parents are busy centralizing men by the beauty of their own children. The church leaders are busy centralizing men in the church. We're going to see how. Okay, but it's not the discussion for that for now. Let's limit it to this one for today, okay? Now, the pen of inspiration also notes the following. Brother Kenneth, read for us. Tsepang, are you there? Read for us.
From the beginning, eh?
Yes.
The pen of inspiration also notes,
Yeah.
women are too often tempters.
Women are
On
how
one,
many times? How many times are doing? Too often.
Often tempt. Yeah,
Yes.
too often tempters.
Yes, that is majority of the time.
Pretend.
Women are tempting men.
Amen.
Yeah.
On one pretense or another,
Yes.
they engage the attention of married and unmarried men.
Yeah, men is in trouble.
R.A.
No, it's fine. It's okay, thanks. So married men are in trouble because there's so much attack against the men. Everything is working against the married men. But now the problem is that whenever we see the level of rape so high, do you know where we point it? When we see the level of rape high in the society, we don't point it to the people. We say men are trash. We say men are trash. But the truth of the matter is that what do you think should happen when you are busy masturbating a man? Honestly, what do you think should happen? When you are busy masturbating a man 24/7, what do you think must happen? No, I'm just asking. When you are busy masturbating a man 24/7, when he gets to church, he's masturbated. When he gets to work, he's masturbated. When he goes to the street, he's masturbated. When he comes home, he's masturbated. What do you think must happen to the man?
He's going to be mad.
The man must ejaculate. That's what's going to happen. It's a natural response. I'm not saying it's an acceptable response.
Amen.
I'm not saying it's an acceptable response. Don't confuse me. I'm saying it's a natural response. When you continually masturbate a man, it's going to happen. Most. The man is going to jerk off. Now, Ellen White, they says women are tempters. In the previous quotation, she said, women use their power. You remember that? Here it is, young girls and married women use their power. So when she says women are too often tempters, but how do they do this? She says young girls and married women use their powers in a most shameless, disgraceful manner to court the attention of men. But now in this marriage, it says they seem to be infatuated with evil, and men are often tempted by women. But what does it mean to be tempted by women? It means men, they often fall from the temptations. Or rather, men are tempted to fall. Okay, fine. Now, they use their powers. So they've got their powers. They've got power. Okay? They've got power. So on the next presentation, brethren, we want to investigate the statement, this very statement. Young girls and married women use their power in a most shameless and disgraceful manner to court the attention from unmarried and married men. So what this means is that young girls and even your wife, your married wife, your precious wife, uses her power to masturbate other men. That's what the statement is saying. They are using their power to sensualize other men. They are using the power to court the attention of both married and unmarried men. Okay? Young girls, it's not only your daughters that are doing this, even your wives. Your wives are dangerous to the society. Your wives are dangerous to other men. Wife, this is not the sin of just single women. Wives are busy sensualizing men out there. So, next presentation, we want to ask the following questions. So, if women are using their power to do this, where do these powers reside in a woman? You get the point? But we need to practicalize this. Okay, fine. Okay, the Bible must tell us, okay, fine. The women use their powers to sensualize men. Where? How? How do women use these powers to sensualize men? And number two, where are these powers reside in women? We know that the physical strength of a man resides in the arms, right? And particularly in the top lower body, upper body as well. We know that. But with women, where are the powers of beauty residing? We want to go and learn that next week. And number two, when we have identified where these powers reside in the body of a woman, then we want to ask, how do women use these powers to sensualize men? Okay? So that's the end for today. May God bless the reading of his word, now and forevermore.